Tonight's big stories. Brace yourselves for a hotter weekend. Projections from Pag-asa show that the heat index could rise up to 50 degrees Celsius. And even when the wet season starts in the coming months, the State Weather Bureau warns that temperatures could remain high due to the El Nino phenomenon. We'll get some tips on how to avoid heat-related illnesses like heat stroke later on in the program.
The Land Transportation Office received criticism for planning to issue paper licenses because of a shortage in plastic cards. But before things can heat up further, the agency pulled a stopgap measure by extending the validity of licenses until October. We'll get to talk to Land Transportation Office Chairman Jr Tugade later on in the show.
Condo living for the poorest of the poor. That's the plan of the government for the beneficiaries of this administration's housing program. But what exactly can Filipinos expect from this project? Well, we'll speak to Human Settlement and Urban Development Secretary Jerry Yakuzar later on in the show.
From the nation's capital, I'm Gretchen Ho.
I'm Sean Yao.
And I'm Regina Lay. This is the big story tonight. Welcome to the show. Pag-asa is projecting that the heat index could reach up to 50 degrees Celsius over the weekend. That's the hottest so far this year.
But the State Weather Bureau warns of even hotter days by next month ahead of the onset of the rainy season.
The heat could get even worse with the onset of El Nino, which is likely to develop by July. Marian Enriquez with the big story.
The State Weather Bureau recorded a 43 degrees Celsius heat index that was felt in Naiya and Pasay City and Dagupan, Pangasinan on Thursday. Heat index is the measure indicating the level of temperature the body feels when relative humidity is combined with air temperature. Now, Pag-asa tells the public to brace for hotter days ahead starting this weekend. Tomorrow's heat index, as Pag-asa forecasts, will likely reach 50 degrees Celsius, the highest since the dry season started. Pag-asa says that this may be recorded in Quezon City. The Weather Bureau notes that anything beyond a 42 degrees Celsius heat index may lead to heat exhaustion or heat stroke.
Halimbawa, nasa 40 plus, no, na 42 to 51 degrees Celsius, nasa danger level iyon, na kung saan may possibility siya ng heat cramps, heat exhaustion, and even heat stroke is probable with continued exposure dun sa mataas na temperature na yun.
But just when we thought we've seen the hottest of days, Pag-asa warns the temperatures could hit record highs come May.
Pagpasok po kasi ng buwan ng Mayo, ito rin po yung start na mataas din yung relative humidity. Hindi pa naman actually nagsisimula yung tag-ulan nun. So mataas ang temperature, mataas ang moisture. So pag kinumbay natin sila, tumataas po yung heat index.
But there's more. The heat we are feeling may even be intensified by the looming El Nino phenomenon, which is predicted to enter by July. The country last experienced El Nino late 2018 until 2019.
Ito pong El Nino ay ito yung pagtaas ng temperatura ng karagatan sa Central Pacific. It recurs around 3 to 7 years. And yung pag-init po ng temperatura na yon sa Central Pacific ay nagkukos ng roughly about drier conditions sa atin.
To avoid heat stroke, the health department is reminding the public to stay hydrated. This by drinking lots of water and avoiding drinking coffee or alcoholic beverages which are diuretic and may cause dehydration. Wear comfortable clothes, use umbrellas, hats, and wear sunblock and avoid staying under the sun for long hours.
So does that mean that with the upcoming El Nino season that the country will be experiencing less tropical cyclones or typhoons? That's a big question. Let's bring back Marian Enriquez for the answer. Marian.
Yes, Sean, Pag-asa explains that the El Nino may worsen the heat index due to lesser rains and storms, but they are still advising the public to still be on guard for stronger typhoons. The Weather Bureau explains that the tropical cyclones tend to be more intense because of the warming ocean water, which provides more energy for storm development. They explain that tropical cyclones will bruise somewhere farther from the eastern side of the country, which could allow them to gain more strength before hitting our area of responsibility. Sean?
All right, thanks for that, Marian Enriquez.
The provincial government of Occidental Mindoro has declared a state of calamity in the wake of worsening power outages that have made high temperatures in the province even more unbearable. Mobile journalist Francis Orsho with the details.
Incidents of students fainting in various schools in San Jose, Occidental Mindoro continue to happen one after the other. It's already hot, and to make matters worse, there are power outages every day. This is causing the students to feel dizzy due to the stifling heat. In this photo, a caregiver is seen carrying a portable fan to help a dizzy student. In an effort to prevent more such cases, schools have decided to adjust their class schedules.
Kakaroon sila ng pagbabawas ng oras sa pasok ng mga bata. At dudugtungan na lang nila ng parang mga module. Araw-araw po ang brownout dito sa aming bayan, ma'am. At halos 4 na oras na kung magkaroon ng kuryente sa aming mga tahanan.
According to Governor Eduardo Gadiano, the intermittent power supplies has been a problem in Occidental Mindoro for several decades. This is the reason why the Provincial Council declared a state of calamity.
Mula nung bata pa ako, talagang power crisis na. Bagsak ang negosyo talaga dito. Ang dami nang umayaw. Ang ating health sector, talagang aming hospital dito, under kasi ng Kapitolyo to, walang tigil ang under ng mga generator. Dito na kami nababaon sa utang sa aming mga kinukunan ng mga fuel. Cultural sector natin, walang yelo. Ang yelo namin nagagaling pa ng Batangas, sobrang mahal.
Currently, the province's power supply comes from only one source. That is the 20-megawatt bunker fuel plant operated by Occidental Mindoro Consolidated Power Corporation and subsidized by the National Power Corporation or NAPOCOR. However, that falls short of the daily electricity demand of around 30 megawatts in the province. Governor Gadiano already wrote a letter to NAPOCOR to request the revival of another power plant in Pulanglupa, San Jose. This will provide an additional 10 megawatts of electricity to the province. NAPOCOR, however, said that they do not have funds for it as well. They are also unable to send a power barge or floating power plants because they are already deployed in other areas. For now, NAPOCOR says that the only help they can offer is to promise to regularly pay the subsidy each month to ensure the continuous operation of the only power source in the province. Prior to sitting in office, President Bongbong Marcos already took notice of Occidental Mindoro's power woes. During his campaign in April last year, Marcos raised the issue of brownouts in the province, saying this was a big problem that needs to be fixed.
Now, what else is NAPOCOR doing to address the power supply shortage in Occidental Mindoro? Mobile journalist Francis Orsho is back to give the details. Francis?
Gretchen, aside from what was mentioned earlier, NAPOCOR is also working on an agreement to dispatch a 69 kilovolt transmission system that will provide additional electricity supply from Oriental Mindoro to Occidental Mindoro. No specific date, however, has been slated on when this will be operational. For now, Governor Eduardo Gadiano is only requesting to expedite the repair of the transmission system. Gretchen?
All right, thank you very much, Francis.
Muslims in the country will now hold Eid Fitr tomorrow as the crescent moon was not sighted to signal the end of the holy month of Ramadan. Sheikh Abu Huraira Udasan, the Grand Mufti of the Bangsamoro region, said the moon sighting teams have been deployed to several key locations, but the crescent moon was not seen, signifying that Eid Fitr will be on Saturday. Meanwhile, President Bongbong Marcos sent his regards to the Filipino Muslim community as they celebrate Eid Fitr. In his message, Marcos enjoined Muslim Filipinos to sustain the values, teachings, and practices learned during the holy month of Ramadan. The president likewise expressed hope that the entire Filipino people would use the occasion to put aside differences and overcome any challenge in the name of unity, respect, and love.
Up next, in line with procurement issues for their licensed plastic cards, the LTO has decided to extend the validity of expiring driver's licenses. We'll get more on that from LTO Chief Jr Tugade, who will join us after the break. Stay with us. You're watching the big story here on One News. The Land Transportation Office will be extending the validity of driver's licenses that are about to expire. This is in response to negative public sentiment after they announced the issuance of paper licenses to address the shortage in plastic cards. The LTO said that driver's licenses expiring on April 24 will be valid until October 31 of this year. The agency has been criticized for issuing paper-based licenses in lieu of plastic cards due to the shortage. The LTO estimates that only 147,000 plastic cards are left for use, and this would be good only until the end of the month. LTO said they received a department order back in January stating that all procurement amounting 50 million pesos and above will be undertaken by the Transportation Department. This includes the procurement of plastic license cards. For its part, the DOTR says that the LTO failed to procure plastic cards on time. The DOTR is now talking to the Budget Department to fast-track the purchase of new licensed cards to help out the LTO.
Let's try to get some clarity on this issue from LTO Chairman Jr Tugade, who joins us this evening. Good evening and welcome to the big story. Jay, thanks for joining us. You can imagine that this issue has caused a bit of an uproar, right? Because, it's unheard of. Could you explain to us exactly what caused the problem?
Sure. So the problem that we have right now in LTO, which is the depletion or the shortage of our plastic cards, which we use for the driver's licenses, the cause of the problem is due to the delay in the procurement process. We at the LTO, like many other Filipinos, eagerly await for the Department of Transportation to finalize the procurement so that we can move forward and start printing the driver's licenses of everyone.
So, Jay, can I just take one step back there? You
Sure.
say that it's a delay of procurements by the DOTR. Do you also know why there was a delay to begin with?
I'm not so sure exactly what the root cause of the delay was, because LTO was not made part of the Bids and Awards Committee of the Department of Transportation until March 21 of 2023.
All right, Jay, another issue I think that is a bit confusing when I first heard the news, you decided instead as a stopgap measure to extend the validity until October 31 of this year, the licenses that will expire on April 24. But how long is this leeway for? What happens if, for example, your license expires on June 1? Will that also be extended?
Right. So all licenses that will expire from beginning April 24, 2023 onwards are considered to be extended. The validity is extended until October 31, 2023.
But until when? Is this an ongoing thing? Will you then just give us an update? Okay, starting this date, this extension does not apply anymore?
So the extension the policy for the extension is all driver's licenses expiring on April 24 onwards, which means April 24, 25, 26, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. All of these licenses are considered to be extended, the validity, until October 31, 2023.
Okay, just taking a look at what happened, do you think there was a little bit of miscommunication? I mean, why rather was there miscommunication between the LTO and the DOTR regarding procurement, and how early do you order the plastic cards, given that you already have projections as to when certain cards will expire, and also probably allocation for the new applications for driver's licenses? Ano po ba yung nangyari doon? Is this a new policy that the DOTR has to be the one to procure if it's 50 million and above?
Yes, opo. So number one, there is no miscommunication. The special order issued by the Department of Transportation, this is Special Order 2023-024, which was issued sometime in January, instructed the LTO that all biddings involving the procurement wherein the amount is 50 million and above shall be conducted by the Department of Transportation Central Bid and Awards Committee. So, as a consequence of that special order, since the amount involved in the procurement of the driver's license is 240 million, naturally, we at the LTO had to cease any procurement activities that were on the way, and we had to give way, we had to transfer the procurement to the Department of Transportation Central Bid and Awards Committee.
Okay, sir, if there's 5.2 million backlog, will this be solved by October 31? And are the first-time applicants part of the 5.2?
Yes, so the backlog is not 5.2 million. The budget that was given, which is 240 million pesos, that is for 5.2, that is for the procurement of 5.2 million plastic cards. So presently, the backlog that we have because of the depletion of the driver's licenses, as of April 19, the backlog is at 125,000.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there for now, but we'll keep checking in with you for updates if that's all right. Thank you for joining us, LTO Chief Jr Tugade.
And the Foreign Affairs Department is getting ready to evacuate Filipino workers caught between firefights in Sudan. The DFA confirmed that one OFW was hit by a stray bullet but is now in stable condition. Based on the latest data, there are more than 400 Filipinos in Sudan, less than 100 of whom are asking to be repatriated or transferred to a safer location. The clash between the Sudanese army and its main paramilitary group broke out last week, killing over 300 people and injuring thousands more. The Philippine Embassy in Egypt is planning to conduct land evacuation just in time for a possible truce for Eid Fitr.
According to the insiders ng mga Pilipino na kausap namin, mas gusto kasi ng Sudanese, sila mag-resolve na to. Merong progress na kumukonti daw in many areas yung shooting. Ang bali-balita, within 1 week or a few days, tapos na to.
President Marcos will be heading to the U.S. for a bilateral meeting at the White House with U.S. President Joe Biden on May 1. During this visit, Biden is expected to reaffirm the U.S. defense commitment for the Philippines. The two leaders will also discuss efforts to strengthen their alliance and review opportunities to deepen economic cooperation. Ahead of that meeting, U.S. Trade Representative Catherine Tai visited Manila where she discussed with government officials the negotiations for the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, which involves the Philippines. In an exclusive interview with One News, Tai said that transparency, rule of law, and good governance are crucial elements in the economic ties between the U.S. and its Indo-Pacific partners.
I'm so delighted that we have the Philippines actively engaging in these negotiations. It is, from the United States, our program of engagement for the 21st century to allow us to work with some of our closest partners, economic outcomes that will be resilient, sustainable, and inclusive.
In that same interview, Tai said she's encouraging the United States Congress to renew the Generalized System of Preference or GSP trading scheme with the Philippines. The Philippines has been pushing for the reauthorization of its GSP eligibility after it expired in 2020. The program allowed duty-free entry of more than 5,000 Philippine products into the U.S., including electronics and agricultural products. Tai also tells One News that the GSP was not sidelined by the negotiations on the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework.
These two pieces actually go together quite well. We want to make sure that this is a diverse framework in the Indo-Pacific. And at the same time, GSP, the elements that you see in the GSP with criteria that relate to labor conditions, there is a consistency in U.S. trade practice that is reflected in both.
We're going to go for a quick break now, but up next, the government's new housing program for the poor piqued the interest of many with its condominium design. But how sustainable is this for the national budget? We'll find out when we return. Welcome back. You are still watching The Big Story here in One News. Earlier this week, President Bongbong Marcos led another groundbreaking ceremony over in Bulacan for the government's Pabahay program. The housing project aims to provide beneficiaries with condo-style living. Here's what you can expect. The buildings under the project will have amenities like swimming pools, gyms, and a playground for kids. Beneficiaries will pay only up to 2,000 to 3,500 pesos a month, depending on the floor area, that's payable for 30 years. Local governments where housing programs are located will choose who among the poor families will be included as beneficiaries. In Bulacan alone, about 30,000 housing units will be developed in 6 different towns of the province. For the first year of the housing project, the government has already inaugurated 1.2 million units. The target is to construct 1 million units per year to fill the 6.5 million housing backlog in the country.
Here to join us for a discussion on the condo-type housing program, we have with us on the show Human Settlements and Urban Development Secretary Jerry Yakuzar. He joins us now via Zoom. Sec Jerry, welcome to The Big Story. Let's jump right into it. What are the qualifications for beneficiaries? How do you apply? Are you picked out? How does this work?
The program itself, the program has to para tapusin yung backlog for 6.5 million for the pabahay, pambasa pabahay para sa Pilipinas, para sa Pilipino. The difference of this program compared to the previous government, ito may sustainable program to. Meaning, ang ginagamit natin dito hindi yung budget na nanggagaling every year sa Congress or sa Senate. Kasi yun ang ginamit natin, hindi sustainable, kakapusin yung pondo ng gobyerno. So what we did is we tapped the private funds. Kamukha ng ginagawa sa ibang bansa. Ang ginagamit ng housing, yung private funds. Kaya naging sustainable to. At ang gamit ay private funds. Kasi ang private funds, pag ginagas mo, bumabalik din sa bangko. Ang government kasi, pagka ginasos mo, hindi na babalik sa gobyerno yung pondo. No? Ito kasi, balik ulit sa bangko. Kaya ang nangyari dito, naglagay lang ang government ng interest subsidy. Meaning, yung 36 billion a year for the 1 million houses, yan ang magagawa niya in 1 million houses, pampababa ng monthly amortization. Imagine mo yung 36 billion pag niligay mo sa direct, as previous administration na ginagawa, direct housing, funding, direct funding for housing. Walang interest subsidy na ginagamit at diretso ng pondo. Ang 36 billion, ang nagagawa lang niya, 36,000 units. So malayo. So di mo hindi talaga makakatapos sa backlog.
Sec Jerry? Yes, Sec Jerry, pero sino po yung makakakuha po nung chance para po makapag-apply, para bumili, or maka-avail nitong mga libreng pabahay?
Ito, hindi po ito libre. Kasi po ganito yung sistema nito. Ang problema kasi ng housing natin, affordability, saka access to funds. Noong araw, since mahal ang real estate, mahal ang lupa, mahal ang construction materials, so hindi makayanan ng mga mahihirap na manggagawa ang pabahay. So ang nangyayari, napupunta sila sa squatter kasi yun lang ang kakayanan nila para magkabahay at mamungupahan. Kaya ang ginawa po natin, yung access to funds, meron yan. Yung access to funds, meron naman pondo yung bangko eh. May pera yung bangko, may pera yung mga GSIS, may pera SSS, may pera din ang pag-ibig. So may pera, pero ang problema ay affordability. So di mo pwede ipahiram yung pera nang malulugi yung bangko.
Sir, speaking of pera, magbabayad po sila 2,000 to 3,500 per month. Ano po yung kasama po doon sa binabayaran po nila? There are concerns about maintenance of elevators, of public utilities, of common facilities. How does that work on that end? Kasama na po ba yun?
Kasama mo lahat yun. Ganito yan eh. Alam natin yan eh. Sasama natin sa monthly amortization yung monthly dues. In other words, pag binigay ng bangko yan o ng pag-ibig sa developer o binigay sa homeowners, kasama na yung pondo ng building maintenance for 10 years. Kasi for that 10 years, hindi sila sanay magbayad ng maintenance ng association use. Diba? So, ang mangyayari, may pangunang pondo na manggagaling sa loan. Kasi hindi pwedeng ma-deteriorate yung property kasi papaksak ang value. Ayaw din ng bangko yun.
And then, sorry, Sec Jerry, you're running out of time, but balik lang ako sa first question natin, who can apply for these housing units? Sino ang pwede maging beneficiaries? Can you just clarify that, please?
Lahat ng manggagawang Pilipino na may trabaho, qualified dito.
How do they apply po? Kung sakasakali?
Pupunta ka lang sa local government. Kasi sila ang mag-screen eh. Kasi constituent nila yan eh. Kasi ang local government, partner namin eh. Sila ang bibigyan ng building permit, sila mag-approve ng location. So magkasama kami nag-approve ng mga beneficiaries. Kami naman, ang ina-approve lang namin, sa amin naman, parte namin, ang funding, saka yung size ng unit, saka yung, siyempre, yung kaayusan. Kasi baka kung ano nang gawin ng mga contractor developer. So sinisigurado namin may school, sinisigurado naman kahit paano mayroong playground, Sinisigurado namin hindi dikit-dikit yung building. At sinisigurado namin na kaya at maganda yung area at merong amenities. Parang gano'n. Parang pinila sa condominium talaga.
Alright, abangan na lang po namin kapag tapos na ito para makita natin yung mga units. Salamat po sa inyong oras ngayong gabi. Thank you for joining us, Human Settlement and Urban Development Secretary Jerry Yakuzar. Maraming salamat, Sec. And before we go, today was the end of an era for many people when they discovered that Twitter Inc. owner Elon Musk had finally made good on his promise to remove the platform's blue check marks. These blue checks even disappeared from the accounts of some well-known and widely followed people on the social network, and that includes no less than Beyonce, Bill Gates, and even Twitter founder Jack Dorsey. For his part, Musk previously presented changes to Twitter's verification system as a way of, quote, treating everyone equally. Musk also suggested that requiring users to pay for verification could help eliminate spam and scam accounts after repeatedly complaining about the number of bots on the platform. Gretchen, can you confirm this?
No, you had a blue check?
Yeah, I have a blue check.
Well, is it gone? Is it really gone?
What do you feel?
To be honest,
do you
I
feel
don't,
less of a
no, I don't feel
social
less of a
media
person.
personality?
But I do feel a lot more confused now about the verified accounts, because now it doesn't mean that you're actually verified as a real person.
Yeah.
It means that you paid for the account. And now, before, there were actually notable people liking, and you'd see notifications on that. But now it's just random people liking, and you get notified.
Yeah.
So it has changed your Twitter experience
It
a
used
bit.
to be
A little bit.
a sign of authenticity.
And then somebody
Right.
commented, because I posted a tweet on that, and somebody commented that treat it as a business cost, as a cost of doing business, because many people use Twitter as part of their brand.
That's true.
But I say not everybody uses Twitter
That's
for
true.
business. Some use it for news, information.
A lot use it
Yeah.
for news and just getting out facts.
But it's funny because Elon gave LeBron James and Stephen King free accounts.
What?
So
Yeah,
that's
that's
fair,
right.
right?
And
So
William
how do you
Shatner.
say- how do you say
It's a
equal
personal.
world,
Well,
right?
if you were a billionaire, I guess you could do these things without explanation,
I just think
right?
that Elon's experimenting, and probably he'll end up,
Well, we'll see how this
finding it
ends.
work.
One day you might just wake up with
Maybe
a purple check.
you should tweet him and ask.
I did go to my
for it
Twitter
back.
account at Gretchen Hall. No blue check anymore.
But that's still her, guys.
That is the big story tonight. For more updates, follow News 5, the Philippine Star and Business World online. You may also log on to onenews.ph for more in-depth analyses. I'm Regina Lay.
The big story is also available via Signal Play. Make a free account now at signalplay.com and stream One News anytime, anywhere. I'm Sean Yao. Stay safe, Philippines.
And I'm Gretchen Hall. We are One News, all sides, all the time.